And we're back on the Twitch. Hello, everyone. OSL's the name and DVD's the game. You're watching Division 2 Season 1 Grand Final. It is Ancestor versus Reactor. Out of the 4 OCE teams and 6 Asian teams, it is 2 SEA Demons going through to Division 1 alongside Nix, who you saw beat Hoff last night. Unfortunately, Hoff will be fighting to get back into Division 1 for next season. However, what do we have in store for you guys tonight? Well, how about a best of 5? Sounds good to me, and I hope it sounds good to you. So without further ado, here are the sets for tonight. It is Blight on Suffocation Pit 1, Oni on Family Residence, Doctor on Wretched Shop, Mastermind on Almond Lake Mine, Unknown on Wrecker's Yard for set 5. That being said, my name is Hunter. Alongside of me tonight is somebody who's been here for the entirety of it. How are you, Jams?
I don't think I could match that energy, big man. That was beautiful. But no, yeah, we are on the Twitch finally. I know a lot of people are going to be cheering in joy for that. But let's get into the Blight. I think we've seen Blight the most. Bullet over Division 2. It was the most pick set, as was last season during Division 1 for Season 4. Don't think anything will change for Season 5. Of course, beautiful set of rushes around that. Actually able to avoid the quick V1 off that top mid god filler. Broken zone top is going to be what's happening. We make another filler, it doesn't even matter. Beyonce, I think this is his first run on the killer. We do see L1, or level 1 I should say, which is Some Peng, Baru, Lynx, and the Jake Park, who has remained infamous for me this whole tournament, Hunter.
I still don't even know who this is myself, Jams, and as we take that first tag onto our Jake there, he is going to be vaulting the window from main over into this one side of the map where he just has this little short filler, but can he win the 50? And he does! Unfortunately, Beyond's not quite able to make that flick, that being a little bit too loose instead of a very tight flick there, but playing some mind games, some nice M1 mind games is just going to allow us to get this down. Fairly decent time for first chase. It's not too bad for the killer, not too bad for the survivors. I'd say it's pretty even at the moment, especially if we are on those generators in the background as on the survivor side. And as I say that, we do see someone working 5 days down. Renato, it is Biru stealthing for this pull as well, preemptively on our Steve. And we do see Tori in the background over at 7 working a generator. So bot side working gens and top side taking chase. I do like this play. We do have a decently even split. This actually really does favor the survivors. My god, no 4 gens or 5 gens at top side or bottom side here today. And we do see our Jake make a way in. He is healthy as incredible. That is a very fast reset. We are going to be looking for him after breaking this main pallet here. Steve off in the distance, stealthing around, making sure not to get found. We have Deli in the trial, I do believe, if I caught a glimpse of that correctly. But Beyond's going to continue on. This tunnel out chase onto our Jake here is going to be going all the way back down to 9. Going to be greeting this pallet very nicely there. Not getting stunned, but not getting the tag on the side of Beyond's. And not getting the tag there either. Getting the pallet slapped in his face. We are going to be trying to play around this tile here and flicking around it and getting a nice hit onto our Jake. He's going to be running around this tile. Oh my god, that was so close, but going to be breaking all the way back into main, and this is going to make for an even longer chase. So this is something favoring more of our survivors. Getting a little bit antsy on the side of our Blight here and trying a little bit of a V1 tech, but everything just spiraling out of control here. We really need to compose ourselves. Maybe play a little bit of M1 games here because our Jake's giving us a run for our money, and as I say, that Caster's Curse, he is going to be going down, and we're going to be spotting Steve out as well. He's going to be running all the way back down to kind of reset, recollect the survivors. They probably want to flip the map here, Jams, and probably take chase bottom side and start working the gens top side.
All right, so 2 things. 1, we'll make it. There's desperate measures, resurgence on the bloke on hook, right? That is what caused a long second chase there. Doesn't even matter though. Hold that thought. We are catching the Steve out at main, which is going to force... Hold on, bloke. He doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. This game was just going to be perfect, right? So what I was about to enlighten the audience on was... It doesn't matter what happens here because the bloke on the hook still has DS. It wasn't used. This is DS, and I might even be wrong. It might even be dead hard as well, which is perfect if you're on the same ping matchup, which is what we're on. Apologies, it's overcome, so actually not that good. But if he gets the resurgence off, it's beautiful, of course, right? Now, you found your stealther. The means for resetting the guy off hook is gone. You have to force a trade now, and... Yeah, you see Lynx coming in from 11, and now you have to force... This is going to be 2 people slugged. This is not good, but they're backing in the fact that I guess, again, the Jake, who's going to remain anonymous again for this whole tournament up until the end of this grand final, he's going to have to get bottom. We do catch a little flare. I'm not too sure how much that flare is actually going to give him, because taking the distance on that BT probably would have been more beneficial there. But no, we do make the mid here. The DS is in access, so we're going to need to see Renato haul ass topside to get those double picks, though DS will come out at this tile. This is not honestly going to hit Beyond's like the brick shit house that it should be hitting him as. But yeah, no, we do get to make bottom for this. No exhaustion onto I believe our Jake here. Does make the jungle gym. That is beautiful. Cracker in the eyes as well. Get blinded, son. Get your sunnies on, lad. Yeah, but that's going to be his chase over unless we make this. There's not a filler. Yeah, this is just GG's. Unless we somehow pull off some beautiful maneuvers in the face of the killer and make the fucking pallet. That is lovely stuff.
Yeah, definitely. We're going to be continuing on this chase for what really should have been a very short one to a very long one. And now we're going to be playing this window here, opting to go very greedy on the side of our Jake. Beyond's really screwing up the bumps here. Needs to get this down quickly and does. We do have a lot of pressure in the background, though. A double split on main and a 1 over at 9. We're going to have to get this hook as quickly as possible and rush all the way back down to the top side. But I don't even think that we make any gen at the moment. Maybe that single generator, but we have to rush to the right generator. And if we choose the wrong generator, it's all going to be chopped chicken cheese, Jams. He is rushing, and I think he is rushing to potentially the wrong generator. He doesn't check. No, he's going all the way down to main here, where it is being doubled. They're going to pop it in his face. And that is going to be the second last generator of the trial, procking for a result of a tag. And we're going to be committing chase back onto main here, or opting maybe to even leave this. I don't even think he should really commit this chase. And he's going to be playing very greedy. Our Renato, level 1 there. There's some level 100 skills right there. Our Steve playing extra greedy for the generator. I thought this was a little bit more progressed than it actually is, and we're going to be taking this kick onto, actually, if my god, it is actually quite progressed. Like, I'm kind of eating my words there, but, you know, pop going to be applied on that generator, as well as eruption. We do really need a really quick down at the moment. We have 2 injured survivors, so we can play very defensive for this gen until we find someone injured and try to get that eruption proc. We do see someone rotating all the way back down to 3, and I'm not too sure who this is. If it's an injured survivor, we are in trouble. I don't think it was, so we've opted to go all the way back down to... was it a 3 gen? We do have 11, we do have 9, and I didn't see the last generator there, but it does seem to be on the top side. I think that is 2 as well, so it is a 3 gen up on this top side here. We have to be very careful when our survivors play very slow. Going to eating a tag on the side of Lynx, and our survivors might be going for a little bit of a reset. I didn't see any gen progress in the background, and we're going to follow up this consecutive tag with a consecutive rush, and that's going to be Lynx down in the 3 gen, a pick up on the side of our killer here, and the game has been reset. So it was looking pretty dicey there for Beyonds, but he was able to really come back into the game and take ground once more, and the survivors are now on the back foot. Our killer needs to be defensive. He needs to make sure that none of these generators pop and that the hook is as hard as ever to get the pull, in all honesty. Gonna be taking one rush here over to the top half of the map, trying to really this is the beauty of having a choke map. If you are on the side of our killer, this cross is going to be very hard for the side of our survivors, but we opted to leave on the side of our killer, getting a little bit impatient there. It's going to allow a free pull. Well, not really free, it might result in a tag, but we don't end up sending it for the pull. We double back a little bit, and we have completely reset the pull, but we are getting gen pressure in the background, so if our killer doesn't decide to go all the way back down to 3, which it looks like he isn't, could spell trouble if we do overcommit this. Our Renato playing very safe there, utilizing the boxes very well. We didn't really even have to go for this pull at the moment. We can just kind of let him sit on hook, as he is first hook. He does know that somebody's off in that direction. That is him telling his teammates, yes, we know that Steve is working that generator over at 3. So just applying some pressure on the hook. Maybe now going back to the generator to apply some pressure there. We do see the background hook there is unhooked there as well. And the survivors are back in this now.
No, sorry for the abrupt, oh my god. I can't believe they pulled that before seconds. That's big. And we do get the tag here onto level 1, but no, getting that pull there, big man, before seconds, that's just probably kept them in the game. I'd say if Old Maid goes seconds on that hook and then is entering into chase They might not get the double like they didn't previously, Buller. You know, they sent it. They had the double main. We do see Baru here just sitting the gen so freely, just so beautifully with the luscious locks. Has played Steve every single match. You do love to see that. I think the last person to do that was actually Seabass. So beautiful to see. We do see I was gonna say Seabass. We do see Steve on the corner there taking a down. Eruption will come through onto that 2-side gen. And I don't want to be a party pooper, but I think Beyonce has done really well to bring this back into a 4K1 territory. This gen over here is 0. That's beautiful for him. This gen at 11 is pretty much inoperable because you know what? At this point, if you sit in this gen, you're asking to die, right? You're asking to be straight dead.
Nowhere to run.
Exactly right. And Overcome is gone. We know that. He knows that. I mean, obviously the survivors 100% know that. You have sprint burst, but look, it's just not worth it, right? So turn into your best option here. Cobb is one of the most underrated perks I think I've had, like we've ever seen, just on a competitive scale. I think it does so much. I think it is giving Beyond's immense value right now. I don't even think you're right. I think Eruption is also great. Pop is also great. Like this build is beautiful to have as the Blah right now. Very, very strong. But the survivors do have stuff to work with as well, and we need to see level 1 go bottom here, Buller. Look where he's running. This is scary stuff.
I think he was using his light there to get to a pallet that he knew was still up and standing. Got to be pre-dropping that in the process, but vaulting straight back into the killer. And you were right to say it was scary because now we are smack bang in our 3-gen, very deep if we decide to hook over at 11. So what do the survivors in the background do? I anticipate that they are going back on 3, maybe one stealthing around for the pull, and that's exactly what's happened. We do see Biru back on that 3-gen, links over towards more of the 9 side where some resources have been dropped. He's opted to go 9 on the side of Beyond's here, trying to really find out our Tory, but doesn't manage to find them. They have evaded 100 stealth. I love that. We do see the scratch marks from our Steve Biru, who's running all the way back down to the 4 walls over at 3, but we're going to be taking this Eruption, and Pop goes the Weasel proc onto this gen, and like you had said, with Pop, Eruption, and Call O'Brien, these perks just synergize so well. Alongside Corrupt, giving him those few extra seconds at the beginning of the game. You can't really ask for a better build on Suffocation Pit 1 in my eyes, but nevertheless, we are going to be trying to find this unhook here. We've lost complete sight of them, but we do manage to spot out the Tory here, kind of caught out at the short filler. Unfortunately, with the filler changes, you know, you do see some weaker tiles that survivors do have to be using. We are going to be blinding Beyond's face there on the side of our Tory. Going to have to do some amazing jiggy work here. And we have done so nicely, but unfortunately going to be going down as we don't have anything to break our line of sight or a pallet close enough to run to. That's going to be another pick onto our Tory and another hook deep into that 3-gen there. We do have 3, the furthest gen being worked at the moment. Biru, who does have 1 more hook to spare, or actually 2 more hooks to spare. My God, what am I smashed? Nevertheless, going to be taking that break onto that pallet there. Our 1-hook survivor, Raul Renato, is going to be working this generator over at that 3 side, pre-leaving it very nicely. So the comms are on point, Jumps, and you know, they do have line of sight on the killer, and if we're not careful, we could run out of kicks on 3. But my God, we have caught level 1 out here on the 3 tile. Going to be making an extremely weird rush there. I thought he would have bumped on the side of the wall before actually choosing to just go straight through the pallet, but we are going to be ditching that chase and going back to our tunnel out here on the Tory. We've caught them out at such a bad position. They really need to be making that bottom side overcome. Oh, this isn't our overcome survivor. My God, it's Steve. I'm gaslighting myself a little bit, but that's going to be a quick 2-tap. Not exactly what you need in this scenario here, because with Tory out of the game, it is a 2v1 with 1 generator remaining.
I mean, so many things to dissect. First of all, Beyond, before this transition of play, before he downed the Tory, didn't kick the gen. So the gen actually was still high. The gen is about 95 right now. And honestly, they got the desperate will make it reset because he got stunned on the 4 lane by the Renato, level 1 here, who is Sumpeng, the captain. Jesus, around the jungle gym just beautifully. Good aim. Very, very good aim. But yeah, nah, this game's over now. This is 4K1. Where has he come from, bloke? But yeah, nah, I think it was definitely still 4K zeroable there as we do take the down onto our good man, Baru, who Beyonds is definitely suspecting is the Deliverance player. 4K1 is what your result will be. Honestly, very well played to Beyonds. I think he definitely had a rough start, rougher than what we may have thought. And then he honestly came back, depleted, He chewed through the DS. He made a great read. He found who was it, son? It was the Steve stealthing for pool. Forced, honestly, one of the worst situations you can find yourself in on Survivor by slugging a bloke under the hook. And the bloke who was, obviously the trade. Obviously, we see Dead Art there from LV1. Very beautiful, of course, but not really that impactful. Yeah, no, look, I definitely think we could have got to a 4K0 here in some regard. I think they'll be a little bit upset the survivors this. I think Beyonds will be wrapped with himself. I think he's genuinely had a good game here. He's recovered beautifully. Like I said, he chewed through the DS, made good reads all game. And that's honestly what you want to see from one of your two Division 1, remaining teams, I guess, or your finalists, I guess is the best way to put it. But yeah, 4K1, matching this is going to be a tough time for the boys on Ancestor. Sorry, I apologize. Only on the pretense that I know Prada is an amazing player. He's just an amazing killer player in general. Honestly, one of the hot seat favorites for the Finals MVP Hunter, the one and only award during Division 2, obviously. None of the minor ones, none of the major ones. Only a Finals MVP as the best player during Division 2 is honestly the most important award you can get, and everything else, barring that, probably isn't as impactful, Corey. But truth be told, man, that was a great result from both sides. I think bit of fumble in there from the end game from the survivors. I think they're definitely on a good track for tonight. If we're seeing that chase, that result, that game plan in all these sets, they're setting themselves up for a good game tonight.
110%, and it's not over yet because obviously the killer on the other side, Reactor, has to match his win con of 4K2, 4K1 tie condition. If all generators pop, he loses the set. But I mean, you have to match that and then better it on the side of our killer. And how do you really better that? I think you need a better start. In all honesty, we did see that start was, in all honesty, it was atrocious for our killer. Just missing our tags, not chases were a little bit too long, chasing in probably some bad spots in all honesty, but all in all, he did recover pretty well, and it all stemmed from that failed unhook attempt from that Steve. I think it was the death hook on our last dying survivor, and then you saw two survivors on the floor after the last pull, and my god, everything just looked like it was really going downhill from then. We were able to get our tunnel out in that time as well, while the survivors in the background were recovering, and that made for a better match. On the side of our killer, but it definitely could have went another way, 110%. But I mean, with this Survivor team now, Beyond's back on the Survivor, did play killer, now is playing Survivor. We do see Olympus go to Dagestan, and wonder who's going to be their fourth Survivor. This is some names that you're going to have to be looking out for in Div 1. Both teams obviously going straight to Division 1. It just really depends on what group they're going to be put in. The winner obviously being put in Group A, and the loser of this match being put in Group B, joining Nyx in Group B, which should be pretty exciting to see. It is Aether who is on the ace for our fourth Survivor, so this should be fairly interesting. I mean, I've seen this Survivor lineup throughout the entirety of Division 2, and they are forced to be reckoned with, Jumps.
100%. I think this honestly wasn't a better story to write here. You've got two teams, obviously Ancestor. I'll tell you a little bit about their story if you are unaware. For our division, more casual viewers, I guess, our Division 1 tuner-inners. Ancestor weren't even in Division 2 to start off. I called them up. I got a message. I spoke to Beyond's last second. I said, hey, bud, we need a replacement team on this day. On the same day that I actually messaged him, I said, can you do it? He said yes. He called the boys. They went toe-to-toe with Severance. You saw them get the job done 2-1 on the day. And they looked like they were going to be a good mid-level team in Division 2, right?
Yeah.
They blew that straight out of the water, big man. And they have pushed all the way into the grand final of Division 2 and genuinely have looked like probably the better team in most, if not every single match they've played. And that is safe to say. Right. On the other hand, Reactor. Bit more odd, bizarre start from them. They went 2-2 during their regular season, right? They were 4th place going into their last... Oh, sorry, they were 1-2, I apologize, going into their last match. They were able to pick up the 2v2, which created that massive fatal three-way that we had during during the end of the regular season towards the start of the final season. And you saw Reactor, you saw Scarlet, and you saw, I believe it was Overact. And they all competed. It was 3 Hillbilly sets, back to back to back. It was beautiful to watch. And Reactor came out victorious on that day. They won both of their matches. I won't say pretty convincingly, but Prada definitely looked like he had what it took. He looked like he was cut from a different cloth, better than any other player, maybe other than Revolution on Team Nix that I had seen throughout this entire tournament. Hadn't made too many fumbles. You couldn't really pin anything else other than his great gameplay up to their success, right? And I think it's really, really wholesome, Buller. Sorry. You go.
No, you're all right. No, it's 100% sorry. I thought you were like closing in on your sentences there. But yeah, no, I mean, on one side, you have basically don't underestimate us because they weren't even picked for Division 2. And then since going into Division 2, they've done nothing but absolute incredible to watch. And then obviously you have a story of perseverance, you know, never giving up. They did look very grim in their group stage and they were able to emerge victorious within that fatal 3-way. So it's just been absolute scenes to see. Going back to the more recent matters, though, as to opposed of looking back on the standings and the group stages and whatnot, what did this team have to pull off on both sides realistically? Well, for the survivors, it's basically exactly what the other team did, but don't get caught out like that Steve did and make everything spiral out of control a little bit later. There's no shade on the Steve. That is just, you know, this misfortune events that happen sometimes throughout the matches. You know, you don't really anticipate those kind of things, but they're the mistakes that can't afford to be made. Obviously, not dying into your gens as well. We did see a few times where Chase was taken into some very dangerous spots. But on the side of our killer, what do we do there? Quicker chases, in all honesty. Just making sure that we get that tunnel out nice and early. Maybe a better start straight off the rip. And if you're joining us for the first time, yes, you are watching the grand final versus Ancestor versus Reactor. And it is going to be Reactor's killer, as we just seen. Ancestor Survivor. Going to be loading in here. It is going to be level 1 on the Blight, and he is going to be rotating from the bottom side all the way to the top side. Looking at a gen split, it is fairly similar to what we saw last game. No, I think it's oh yeah, you know, in all honesty, it is fairly similar, but we're going to be going all the way down to our corrupt zone, really trying to cut off the passageway of that choke point in Suffocation Pit 1, as you tend to do as soon as you start off. And we are going to be finding Summerwind playing this sprint burst very nicely. They're going to be making this short filler over it too, going to be pre-dropping that instantly and running all the way down to the log section of the map. I do think that we get our rushes back just in time to create one tag here on the side of our Blight if we are not careful on the side of our Meg. And we are going to be slamming that pallet, not quite getting the tag there, unfortunately, for our killer, but Meg playing very well. So we're already off to a brilliant start on the side of our survivors. We are going to be missing that crucial tag there. A little bit antsy, a little bit impatient to not take that second bump on the side of level 1 there, but this is going to be a tag here on the side of our Meg. We are going to be running all the way back down into the top side of the map where it is very deep into our corrupt zone, so it is a plus side for our survivors. Some crouch text coming in there, not quite working out in our favor. He's going to delay the down a little bit longer, and that's exactly what you need. Going to be taking this pick onto the survivor there, and Jobs, this is exactly quite the same on how last game went. This is scary. We could be looking at potentially the same result.
Same result, same match. Don't know if it is the same build, though. Buller will have to wait and see. I actually didn't have a gander at that. It is, it's the DS on the hook.
Oh, wait, no, I don't know if it's the DS on the hook. I was referring to the killer, my bad.
Oh, you're right. It is the same build on the killer. You are right. Now, I think that is quite bizarre. Not bizarre because it obviously is the best combo you can get trio combination-wise, but there is like stuff like no holds barred allowed, or you know, deadlock as they refer to it. I don't know, there's other stuff. I'm just so shocked that the meta hasn't changed that often. Maybe these perks that were allowed in Division 2 just aren't that good, but we are choosing to just commit Olympus bottom side here and drop the tunnel out onto onto Summerwind, who maybe some ping up more level 1, whichever one you want to call him. He goes by both, he says. It's an interesting choice. That could be a bait of DS, you know, maybe being Albert here, big Albert Einstein, and trying to, you know, big brain it. And Aether, they're doing a really, really nice job avoiding those rushes. I think that might come back to bite him in the behind. We'll have to wait and see. It depends on how quick he gets these downs down bottom side. I mean, what's the gen's bottom? Maybe he's got this, he's only got a 3-gen bottom, really. I mean, yeah, and Aether's just making this first chase or this The second chase, I should say, sorry, just so much more difficult. We do get a tag here. Finally, maybe it's a 4 gen on the bottom, maybe. No, the other gen is 10. So, yeah, very awkward gens for level 1. We are making it topside if you're Aether, though, so I'm not sure how we've done this. He's still going to be alive after this pallet as well. Beautiful stuff from the big man Aether there. We do see a rotation bottom side from another survivor. I believe that was the Fang, I believe, maybe, unless my eyes deceive me. We do zone break on the side of Aether. We are choosing to leave. Again, we're ping-ponging a bit too much here. We need a down, son. I know you're trying to keep these gens. They are good gens, but you've just lost 2 gens and you've left your only chase. Oh, no, Buller. This might be problems.
Yeah, this consecutive down's not really happening too quickly, in all honesty. We are chewing for a lot of resources, though, so it will help us in the later game if we're able to reground, recollect, and grab our footing back. But we are going to be chasing our Jake here. He's playing very nice around this just trash fillers in the bottom middle section of the map here. He's going to be able to make mid, have some windows and pallets here to be working with. That's another pallet dropped over at that bottom mid side here. Going to be vaulting it, playing the check spots very nicely on the side of our Jake. Going to be eating that medium vault there, unfortunately. And level 1, does he opt to chase this? I dare say he should, in all honesty. And that is exactly what he's doing. But he's really struggling on the mechanics at the moment, playing a little bit too preemptively. And now we are going to be leaving once more, trying to really take advantage of that bottom side 3 gen. And in all honesty, I mean, I don't really see a world where that is applicable at this point in time, as we do have 4 survivors left in the trial and 1 hook to our name at the moment. So worst case scenario, we just pop that generator over at that 3 side and we're at 4K1 tie condition with 4 survivors remaining. It's going to take like a 4-man slug of some sort to really come back from that. But we're going to be taking this nice tag onto Aether. He is going to be running all the way back to 10. Does he make anything? I don't think he does, because everything in this vicinity has been thrown. And that is what I was saying a little bit earlier about the resources just being thrown a little bit earlier. It is going to help us a little bit later in our matches, especially if we're able to take this quick hook on down survivor. No, we got a beam a no. I thought that was the end of it all, but unfortunately the timing's just a little bit off on the side of Summer Wind. That is 3 in the background procking, and now we do have this nice 3 gen here. I do believe that is bottom mid 4 and 5, or 6-ish rather. 5 and 6, kind of something along those lines, but we are going to be going to this deep generator here. And as we said last match, Jamie, I mean, working the deep generator over there would just be kind of a death sentence, as you don't really have anything to run to. But we are going to go back for our tunnel out. Let's see what he can do.
Yeah, we're definitely going to need to perform a madness here. It's looking dire. It is looking dire. And we are getting, I guess, flared by the extended sprint burst there from Summer Wind. Yeah. I mean, you're not, I think a totem as well, a dull totem, I don't even know. I think he has inner strength. I don't know, I didn't catch the perks there. But yeah, we are taking a chase here mid from Summer Wind. I do think we have, we definitely do have split gens here. I mean, yeah, we're just going to choose to die top every time. The best thing you could probably do now, if you are the killer on Reactor, level 1, I should say, is you just probably play for a bit of pride here. If you 4K from this position, mate, I'll give you a hug, mate, and a kiss on the lips, because you're really asking a lot here. From the start, you really gave yourself. And to be completely frank with you, Headhunter 111, I don't see a world where this is 4K zeroable with 4 survivors. Yes, you've just got a down on Summer Wind. Pretty much, actually, it's not split gens. I apologize. He does have a 3 gen bottom. But yeah, I mean, maybe with that new information, maybe it is a little bit more doable, considering we have depleted on the bottom side. Yeah, that is my favorite thing to do, is deplete the resources, right? Cobb is what's gonna get you the biscuits here. It's gonna get you the biscuits and bread, and you need to find someone bottom. Ideally M1 them and then force rush down on them quickly. And this is not what's going to happen, because honestly Ancestor are playing really sorry. Ancestor, I was correct. Ancestor are playing really nicely. Aether there, just crouching behind the gen, cheeky monkey. I'm not sure what he was doing there, but yeah, I mean, it's tough. It's tough. We need to find a down bottom side now. Fatigue. Get your rushes back. Fine. Spend some time looking. We don't need to spend any time looking at all. We're taking the kick over the free tag edge map. I don't know how I feel about that. Especially when you need to tap bottom. He's not even choosing to commit to Jake here. I mean, too many decisions to be made. Too many decisions. Too much gem progress here. Like I said, it's impossible to 4K from this position.
Too much gen progress, and just keep in mind that there's 4 survivors left in the trial. That's why you get a little bit flustered and just, what do I do now? You know, everything just becomes so convoluted. And in all honesty, there's just 100,000 ways that the game can pan out, and none of them really in your favor. We're going to be taking this tag on to go to Dagestan, who is the overcome survivor, going to be running all the way back down to the top side. It does have Deli in hand as well if the consecutive rushes do come in, but we are going to be having 5 popped in our face. Unfortunately, that is the biggest kick in the balls if you are on the side of our killer, and that will be the win for the survivors taking home their first set. You know, it is their pick, so you would expect them to win this, but you know, we are going to be moving on next set into, I do believe, if my notes serve me correctly, Oni on Family Residence, which should be pretty interesting. In all honesty, I don't think I really saw an Oni set in the Division 2, sorry. So, I mean, I really like to see how that would pan out. But nevertheless, we are going to be taking the final chase onto Jake Park here over at the corner of 4. Going to be eating that tag and trying to make away with our life here. Trying to play a little bit of jiggy movement, but unfortunately not quite working out in our favor. We do have Summerwind in position for a beamer save. And did we see him? Wait, we've evaded. Okay, plus 100 stealth coming in again once more. Oh, this is gonna hurt. This is gonna hurt. This is gonna hurt. We saw it coming. Bang indeed. We saw it coming from a mile away, and that will be the blind and potentially even the out for our Jake Park. And we are really struggling to recollect from that blind for such a long time. I think we just kind of stayed into just thin air there and just kind of accepted defeat, all while Summerwind was just blinding our killer there. And they will be leaving momentarily. We're trying to get this this hatch play here on the side of Summerwind, or potentially even baiting it out, yeah, and just taking that hit, going straight back down to the gates. Maybe a little bit of, does he see me, guys? Maybe I'm one with the box. Never mind, we're going to be missing the swing there on the side of our killer, and we have baited the baits, and we are now going to be making the hatch for a 3-stage game. Wow.
That does hurt a little bit. I mean, look, the gens bottom, they were good, but they just had too much pressure. It wasn't the same situation we saw previously, but I'm sure our analytics caster will definitely have better insight than what we just had. Down to you, big man.
Yeah, exactly. He's the GOAT, you know? He is Little Chief. So we'll be right back after a quick and short intermission while we get he to tell you guys, you know, his thoughts, and yeah, we'll be right back.
Yes, yes. Hello, everybody. Now, obviously, I want to start. The result might not told the full story of this game. A 3-stage to a 4K1 really does look like a dominant display, but I truly believe this game was a lot closer than it looks. Obviously, the result doesn't really say that, but I want to start with the Ancestor performance on Blight, right? Obviously, the gens top, the 4-gen top, he had a really nice 4-gen top that were all in the corrupt. Now, this is usually a stronger gen setup for the killer, and it did end up being that way, because what ended up happening was, obviously, the first chase went top, he was hooked deep 1, right in that 4-gen, and it created a really big issue, because what ended up happening was you had to keep the survivor top for the second chase because of the lack of gen progress bottom, which is an issue when they're overcome. Overcome is an exhaustion that you can't really have be on hook and make death spot very easily if it's cross map, because they don't have a lot to work with if they are not reset. Obviously, for that second chase, they were reset. You saw the resurgence, the will make it, and the desperate measures come in, which allowed that chase, which was already good, by the way, to make bottom and last. And you saw 2 gens pop for that. But the problem then became, obviously, it was still top in the 4-gen. And obviously, the biggest issue of that game was the found stealth into the failed trade attempt. Now, I want to highlight, obviously, that puts you in a really rough position, and they did send in a second survivor to trade afterwards. Now, I find it very interesting myself that that second survivor that traded was not Unbreak. Unbreak was still on the bottom side of the map. I really do need to wonder why that did happen. I need to wonder why we didn't send Unbreak for the second trade, because what ended up happening from that was he then had to rotate up after the trade, through the chase, get both picks, and help reset both survivors, which wasted so much time. With a good chase from Jake, which helped them get that back into that good position that they were in the 3v1, but nonetheless, a position that could have been prevented if they had just sent somebody with an anti-slug perk. And that didn't happen. So they wasted a lot of time, didn't get as much pressure, and we honestly could have seen that 3-gen top break in before the 4v1 was ended if they did send that unbreak up. The double popping, though, at main to bring it down to a 4k1 was definitely saving the result. That was crucial because if that gen did not pop, I almost guarantee it would have been a 4k2. Though, in the 3v1, I think the real big issue for Reactor serves was their positioning. A lot of times they were playing really, really aggressive when they didn't need to. They were giving away a lot of free tags, and they were sitting gens really close to chase. I want to point out Biru, who sat 2, basically when the chase was on top of him, and he gave away a free tag and then had to send it bottom. They lost a lot of progress. The gen was kicked. It was given eruption, and it really was just unnecessary. If you take those extra seconds to be a bit slower, that doesn't end up happening. Anyways, moving on to the Reactor Blight performance, the tight 4-gen bottom, which is, I think, significantly worse than the 4-gen top, was pretty much exactly why the game ended up the way it did. Obviously, the decision to leave the tunnel out was not a play that I think really ended up paying off, but it really, really could have if he was able to get a quick down in that 4-gen and protect it. Unfortunately, all of the chases from Ancestor's survivors were absolutely incredible from start to finish, which meant that all of the position that I believe it was level 1 could have ended up in from abandoning his tunnel out didn't end up paying off. It's a very risky play, and the reward was not met. The other thing I want to say, in the 4v1 at the very end for the final gen, there was a lot of time wasted trying to get tags that didn't end up paying off. And I think that really came down to level 1's overall mechanical performance. I don't think his mechanics were as sharp as Summerwind's. I think he just wasn't able to convert as many tags in crucial moments, and it really did slow down his gameplay. And it meant that final gen popped as he was top mid. He wasn't even near the gen. Anyways, I think that's all I have to say for this game. I am really excited to see what Oni will bring. Obviously, this is only our second Oni set of Division 2, and the last one we did see went for over 45 minutes alone. So, with that being said, I want to pass it back to Johns and Hunter as we get ready for this match.
And very beautifully said. I will segue us back in very nicely. We do have a set of, I believe Hunter said it was the only on family residence. Yes, I think Corey is sleeping, but it's all right. Either way, family residence did happen once during the season. Messed up, actually, beautifully. With me and Fisher were actually able to watch probably his game back when he played live. Actually, go watch him on the YouTube. Actually, did stream all the Div 2 matches. Shout out to him, very very lovely man. He had an interesting approach to the game. He depleted bottom, had really, really good gens bottom, which isn't out of the question on this map. This is usually the regular theme. And he just sort of played territorial. And I wonder if we will see that approach again on, family residence, the only second time we're seeing it, Corey. Any predictions, Big Muscles? Maybe even a thought process maybe here?
Ideally, Oni should be stages, especially on a map like Family Residence, okay? But, I mean, amongst the previous results in the OC community, for some reason, M1 killers tend to be 4K1 machines, and Oni is one of them, alongside our, favorite Wraith on Dead Dog Saloon, who will be making a return in Division 1. But obviously, I hope not to see that with this kind of balancing, though. I mean, it is a little bit more lenient. Nevertheless, we'll be taking back into more recent events. It is Prada on the killer, and like you said, he is your boy at the moment, the GOAT. Yeah, exactly. We do see some scratch marks here over at mid, so we are trying to force chase on one of these survivors at the moment. We did see someone trying to cross as well. I'm not too sure what's really happening here. Not really playing the stealth game, playing very aggressive on the side of our survivors, but nevertheless, we're going to be taking chase onto our ace here, Aether, who's going to be running all the way back down to this 8-side gazebo here. Going to be playing very greedy for this pallet, and I do like it, but unfortunately getting hit, and that is a very bad start for Oni. That is a tag within the first 30 seconds, ladies and gentlemen, as we do greet these pallets here over at that mid side. Very weak pallets indeed. We do have access to main at our disposal here. We do have the window, maybe a god window of some sort. We are going to be preemptively vaulting that, and we don't even need power to get this first down. And as I was saying, the 4K1 machine here. Oh, it is already all coming down to bits and pieces on the side of our survivors. Going to be anticipating a head-on save here, playing it very safely. We can afford to do this on the side of our killer, as this was an extremely quick chase there. Going to be taking this pick and maybe using a pain res accordingly, and there is one just sitting around that 9 side, 10 side here. So 3, 2, 1, guys, hop that ass off those generators, and like I say that, we are going to have our first pain resistance proc in the trial, and as we do that, I want to quickly touch up on our build. It is Corrupt Intervention, Pain Res, Bam, and Eruption. Very stock standard stuff for the Oni, in all honesty. Some people decide to opt to bring Brutal instead of Bamboozle, but you know, it's all up to personal preference, as well as the add-ons. We do see the Crutch, which increases the speed, and we do see the Hull, which increases the frequency rate of blood orbs dropped, and gives you an extra blood orb to get power a little bit more quicker. Some people like to bring in Fang in place of that add-on, and in all honesty, I am one of those people. I just think that it's much more of a concrete add-on, as you know, you do stock up a little bit more power, and you do have 10 seconds of extra duration. So I just think overall, again, it is personal preference. You do get power hypothetically quicker in this form. Some people beg to differ, though, but nevertheless, it is what it's meant to do. But we do see just the survivor really hiding out in this locker here, just ready for the pull for when it happens, you know, given the A-OK. But this is problems when you have power in hand and hook right in front of you. I mean, you just see like the stealthing survivor for the unhook, and you just pop power, and they're just practically dead if you don't screw up. So we are going to force second onto Aether there, and we are going to be taking chase onto another survivor if we can find someone. Now, what I anticipate is going to happen is as soon as that unhook happens, bam, power pop. Or if we see someone in a advantageous spot for our killer, bam, power pop, and we down them. Okay, so I mean, again, this is kind of chopped. You do have 2 generators proccing in the background, so not all is lost. You know, 4K 3 tie condition at the very worst, and you know, we've definitely seen the 4K 4, 4K 5 on Oni in the main division. So you know, it wouldn't be the worst game in the world if this is where it ended. But we do see our Laurie Strode here playing very immersive. You know, kind of bringing back down a trip down memory lane, as you know, we do say goodbye to the DLC earlier on in the week, and now we're going to be taking this down onto our lorry there, and just consecutively following up this secondary down onto our ace here. He has to play out of his mind if he is to make away from this with his life. He is going to be working this gazebo here, going to be playing the edge map maybe. We've lost a little bit of line of sight. We anticipate, yes, he has gone to this short filler pallet here. We are running a little bit dry on our power here, as we do get the pallet slapped in our face. That is going to be smash hit, running all the way back down to 6. And this is what I was saying, Jams. I mean, you know, you have an extra 10 seconds if you have Fang there.
No, you are right. In hindsight, it is like definitely a better just a better decision, I guess, is the way you could put it, to bring the duration over the frequency. But like you even mentioned and alluded to, it's not the worst decision. It is a common decision made, and it is honestly, it's not the worst thing here. Like I said, it's honestly pretty valid. It does get your power quicker. We do have that was actually a really good vault. That'll be a tag anyway, so I think you'd only really bring frequency if you're confident in the survivor team that you're versing. That's what that says to me. If there's any other thing that I can gauge from that, I'm obviously missing it in the moment. But yeah, based off first impressions, I'd say Prada's just anticipating for... Oh my god, I thought we were making that.
Oh,
Pig
no
shit,
way.
I would anticipate, yeah. I think he's just anticipating for the worst, Corey, is what my guess would be by bringing that.
Yeah, oh, dude, I just can't get over that hit. That was disgusting. That's like one of my hits, dude. But nevertheless, we are going to be taking the secondary pain res from our lorry onto our survivors, and we are going to be collecting blood in the process. And yeah, I guess I do see your point, Jarms. I mean, again, it's down to personal preference. But nevertheless, we are going to be going back and returning to the unhook here, and that is going to be our Renato potentially giving another tag into Prada's hands. He really has to start playing for his stages here. Opting to go for those fresh hooks is probably in his best interest, but we've opted to leave one of them. Olympus, our Renato there, definitely being one of those ones that we need at the moment, but we've opted to go back to our generators and try and control the map a little bit more. And, This can definitely work out if the survivors blunder and play a little bit too aggressive, a little bit too impatient. They really have to take the game slow now at the moment. I mean, you do have power in hand on the side of our Oni, so as soon as we see a healthy survivor, bam, power pop, and you're just down. You know, if you're not, if you don't miss your Oni downs, if if you're like me, you probably are missing, about a good 80% these days after the changes. But nevertheless, we are going to be sitting in the middle here, and we do know the ace is around somewhere, and he is being a little cheeky bugger. This is our tunnel out, and he's done a little bit of a corner tech. My God, you cheeky man. He's going to be vaulting the window there, sending it. And just going to be making the pallet just behind this little jungle gym here, slapping it into the face of our Oni, playing check spots very nicely. Definitely been in the 1v1 labs, this little bastard. But nevertheless, we are going to be still going around Tour de France on these pallets here, and just, so many fillers to be working with, dropping that instantly, and just seeing our survivor here caught out in the middle. This is our Jake Park. This is one of our fresh hooks, and this is going to be advantageous to us. Going to be picking him and hooking him straight in the middle. Maybe a pain res there. Oh, this would be really good if it was, Jams.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate this approach from Prada. You can see the resilience kicking in. Genuinely, this should have been, honestly, 3 stages. Yeah, 3 to 4 stages is probably what this game should have been. He's done extremely well to bring it back. Yes, this game is still most likely going to be out. They have 3 gens, 60 to 70 pretty much. That mid-gen is going to pop, I'm pretty positive, if Beyond has, called the bluff and just sat it in his face. But either way, 1-11... This one, which is just basically top mid, it is not going to pop because Beyond knows that it's not worth giving a tag. I would heavily agree with that. You see both survivors back on the gens. Now the issue is, right, chasing this, getting this tag, it doesn't really do anything for you. Now if you go straight to 11 and you're able to stop 11, maybe, just maybe, he's opting for 1. 1, yeah... That's the decision that's going to cost you. Now, you can't even blame Prada for that because it's just a 50-50 on the gens, but both gens are going to pop. 11 is the one, obviously, he should have chosen if you did not get my point from that. Either way, 50-50, you're never going to be right in that instance. That is the game pretty much over at 4. Like I said, there should have been 4 stages. We will get 1 more here, and it's a fresher. That is actually... really good. Your last fresh if you are Prada. Yeah, this is the resilience you've seen. Yeah, they played this really well, Ancestor survivors. I won't even lie. They are very locked in. They've been scrimming a lot. You can tell. You can genuinely tell. This match will end as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 stages for fresh. That's not even a bad result. Literally probably about the average, if not a stage over, a stage under, right? And yeah, I think the survivors were in a position to get even less than that, is my point. And I think Prada has shown, even in your lowest moments, when things aren't going your way, you can still persevere, get a good result. And this is a great win con for his team to meet. Because even getting 6 stages here is not out of the question, Buller.
The 6 or 7 stages. I mean, I was just getting a little bit confused. The scorecard does say 7 at the moment. It did say all fresh, but I mean, yeah,
7-4,
regardless. Yeah, 7-4. My God. Amongst the average on Oni, in all honesty, realistically, it should just be anywhere between 6 and 8 for a decent game. Anything a little bit more is just a blessing for you. Anything a little bit less is just quite unfortunate. And yeah, it was looking like we were going to get less in that game, in all honesty. I mean, I was looking more towards a 3 stage if we weren't able to find our last survivor. And if we do take a quick look at the chat at the moment, oh my God, no way we're making 6-7 jokes in 2026, guys. Come on. I've already done that twice on stream. I thought it again, but what do the survivors have to do here to really take home the win on the side of Reactor here? Well, oof. You got to delay that first hit. My God, that was looking ultra scary at the beginning of the game. I don't know how we got caught out of position like that. I think No, in all honesty, I think our ace, he did show up a little bit later in the game. I loved his pathing over at 11, but I mean, yeah, at the start of the game, getting hit through playing greedy on that little short filler there, you have to be mega careful because that's where Oni gets you sometimes, especially on a map like Family Residence, and then just kind of going down over at main did not help his team at all. So you definitely can't have that happen. But you got to match the energy of their late game though, because my God, like we had said, don't underestimate them. They played incredible. So, but our team that obviously shows a lot of perseverance is able to really match this. In all honesty, I have faith
Mm.
when it comes to them. So I would really like to see what could really come out of this. I would like to see the build also and like what kind of add-ons Leo Killer's going to bring something a little bit more. Well, that was actually no, that was very conventional what the Killer last game bought. He bought Corrupt Intervention, Eruption, Pain Res, and Bamboozle. Now, obviously,
Mm.
you have the considerations of do they bring the same add-ons or sorry, slightly different perks, slightly different add-ons. Again, it's pretty much only the things that I would have ever listed back in the last game. I don't really see anything bizarre being thrown out unless you want to bring in, I don't know, Infectious Stride or I don't know what else is another perk you could bring. Crawler Brian you probably see
Brutal.
on the Oni sometimes. Yeah, Brutal. Well, Brutal is like one of those ones where obviously it makes sense to bring that over Bamboozle if you don't like pallets as much. But with the short fillers that we were seeing, it just makes more sense to bring in Bam, right? I mean,
I don't
after
know.
the really after the Palo overhaul, I thought we would have opted to bring Bamboozle every single time we played an OD set, but we only had really one or two windows to shut down. In all honesty, you know what? I think we kind of forgot that we had it at some points over at 11 where we could have downed Aether a lot quicker. And obviously please the corner text, my God, that was absolutely crazy. I mean, if that didn't happen, that would have been a different game entirely, especially him being our tunnel out. I swear, I'm just thinking of all these hypothetical scenarios, but all in all, just a better start, I think.
Yeah, that was honestly a great start. And like I was low key giving Prada a bit of a rub, but I honestly have to give Aether a rub as well. He played crazy. He lasted 2 powers. Like he forced Prada to leave twice. I don't think we either of us mentioned that, to be honest. That was big moments. And obviously you got the 50-50 loss at the gen right at the end, which is pretty unfortunate for the big man Prada, who, like I said, Loki been looking like a young Sen in Division Two. I have to admit, Loki one of the best players in the division. If not one of the best. I think he's definitely second. Every match up and before this season that he's played in, he could either be one or two. Based off value to team and overall impact. Definitely could be one or two here. I guess the good thing for him though is he's in the final, and the player that is in the other spot for that one or two lost to his team, unironically. So I mean, actually no, they didn't. I apologize, but regardless, they're still not in the finals where they should be versing each other. Point being though, he's gonna have to perform now. It's two sides to a story. Killer and Survivor being the story in this one, the story of Dead by Daylight, like you said, Buller. If we are able to see some sort of, I won't want to say an aggressive play, but if we see some sort of baiting of chase on this map with the density of fillers we have, with the confidence of the survivor that our no Prada is, maybe not even just Prada, but any survivor from the Reactor lineup, could be level 1, could be Baru, any of them. They need to have a genuine 2-3 gen first chase, like tag at 2-3 gens, right? That's what needs to happen here. If you want to put yourself in the best position possible, you need to make Shaq, you need to make the midfielders, you need to make the jungle gyms, you need to make the pallet gyms, right? All for your first chase. Using your exhaustions, forcing the Oni to leave and commit someone that is going to be potentially in a more worse position than yourself. And the good thing is, no matter how, well, not no matter how, but depending on how disciplined you are, that game style, that play style overall just bites you in the ass, as the Oni, of course. And
Oh, dude, don't I know it?
and you even mentioned new Oni Hunter is like, it's not as forgiving as the old version of Oni, and that shows, like old Oni. I don't want to get ahead of myself here, and I don't want to say I don't want to make hypotheticals, but in a different world, old Oni, maybe he gets the down there. And again, I'm not chopping it up to that because Aether played crazy, but that's just the reality of the world we live in, Buller. And you mentioned Brutal. Sorry, you mentioned Bam over Brutal. Fuck, I don't know, bro. I don't know. The map just looks so dense, bro. I don't know. They are short. It's same ping, so like, yeah, I don't know. Bam is good either way. Bam is superior to Brutal, I think, regardless. But I don't know. Like you said, there was just not enough value for me to be justified here. You definitely just get more from Brutal, bro.
What if we never brought a comfort perk at all?
Mm.
Now that'd be something. But like you had said, yeah, those chases need to be 2 to 3 generators long. And as I say that, as we're loading in, we see a sub for even Eruption. We're going for Pain. Sorry, Pop Goes the Weasel. And then, yes, the sub for Bamboozle, Brutal. So, and a Fang. We see Fang as well. But Hull too? We're not going for speed? Hello? That's his best add-on. That's what turns 50s into your favor. Like, okay, fair enough. You know what? We'll roll with it. I would like to see the mechanics on our young Olympus here. Maybe he's cooking something in the laboratory that I don't even know. That maybe Dexter himself doesn't even know. But we're going to be making use of the exact same filler that we took chase to at the very beginning of the game from last game. And we are going to be winning it. We are going to be getting that life all the way back into main building. And we're opting not to chase that back because that is going to be extremely disadvantageous to us. And we are going to be looking for another survivor. We've caught out a few too many at the moment. And we've mind gamed ourselves a little bit on that little short edge map filler there. Got to be pre-dropping this little filler here, and this is very weak. And yeah, we don't even need Brutal to really break that. We can just kind of play around it. Oh, that is such a greedy swing. I would have respected that and forced the Claudette to play check spot at that pallet, at that little short wall, and potentially win the 50 that way. But with Bloodlust in hand, we might be able to make it this time. We choose to respect it again. Oh, no, sorry, for the first time there. Oh my god, I'm getting a little bit lost at the moment. This Claudette playing absolutely incredible, greeting this pallet very nicely here, but unfortunately going to getting hit a little bit on the later side, as we would have anticipated that it probably could have happened a little bit earlier if we played it a little bit more correctly. But we are going to play some very nice mind games, but we do make the window on the side of our Claudette. Olympus swinging into a whole lot of nothing, hitting the window, and already another the first generator procking in the background. That's automatically going to be a better start for our survivors. Wait, there's no way I'm watching the M1 loops on a 4 wars and he's actually winning pretty much every 50 known to man. Out of about the 650s
Bro.
this man has played, he has won. He's only lost one. It's not. He makes a way too. This is hurting me. Wait. Is he even drop? Wait, hold on. Is he even dropping blood? Wait, what's going on here? Because we're not even collecting. Oh my god. Wait, spectator bug. Wait, I didn't see the blood. What's happened?
Okay, no, we do see the blood.
Oh my god, I was panicking for a second. I was like, hold on a second, is he bugged? Do we need a reset? But we are going to take this pain res hook in the middle here, and we are going to be looking for our next victim, Jams.
I mean, it wasn't the 2 to 3 gens we needed, but it wasn't a bad chase by any means. True, like that was friggin' beautiful. That was lovely to see. Now, I had a bloke, young man, come into my chat the other day, personal stream, and he asked me, what's the most optimal way to play a 4-lane? Well, there you fucking go, champion. That's how you do it right there. That was beautiful. That was good execution of the check spots there on the corner of that pallet. We do catch Baru, young man. What are we doing over here? We need to go back to this 4-lane. Now, this might be Olympus's worst enemy right now. We're going to have to see if he just swings insta around it. Finally able to get Baru down. Now, we're going to have to pick up the pace just a little bit here. I'm not sure if we're going to slug and go back to it. We're not. This is an interesting choice here. Now, he doesn't need a 4K. This is his saving grace. His survivors did beautifully, so he gives himself breathing room if he can make a few mistakes here or there. Now, I guess, was committing to that chase at the start a mistake? I don't know. Up for you to decide, right? My point that I want to gauge at right now is, where do we go from here, right? Do you continue to look for your freshers and your chasers, and do you bank in the fact that you're going to just have short chasers? Even though you mentioned, Corey, you've got no speed. There's no 50-50s. I mean, it's only power, right? Yeah, it's 50-50s, but it makes it so much more reactable. I'm sure you would know that better than anyone. Even there, like, you can see
there
on the side that it's not even a 50-50. I can see exactly what you're meaning, all right? And that is what that's what this killer is. It's not. Oni's not really a good killer. His power. Oh my lord, we do catch the bro out there. I'm not too sure what the play was there, but yeah, Oni's not really the best killer early game. Even when he gets his power, played against the better teams, he's not amazing either. I have to be so brutally honest. At best, a B tier killer. Other than that, Corey, yeah, no, I think 7 stages, 4 fresh was beautiful from them. If you see anything more from our killer Olympus here, it would be pretty impressive because that first chase, I don't know, maybe it was just, I know he got hooked on the active, which was the gen that I believe Baru was working on. It was that mid-side 10. Now that obviously set them back a little bit, but you know, they do have pressure around the map. Insta-pull in the background coming through. Now, what do you do? Do you commit the guy on the hook or do you go back and look for a tunnel out, Corey? I'm not too sure. Because genuinely, getting 7 stages 4 fresh is... I mean, it's not hard, but the tricky part is the 4 fresh, right? So that's where we come in. That's where it gets a bit awkward for me.
Does it really matter if he manages to find 2 survivors, in all honesty, after obviously down... he needs to kill the first survivor before at least 1 generator remaining. So we need to find someone, we need to find them quick, and at the moment we see a whole lot of nothing. We don't really see any, but we see somebody edge map. Hold on a second, I might be eating my words here. We do see some scratch marks leading all the way back down into 4, and there's some blood pools. This is an injured survivor, but it doesn't really matter at this point. It just matters how many stages that they're worth, and this is our Jake Park who's going to be slapping the pallet in our Oni's face over at 5. Going to try to go over to 6, but unfortunately getting caught out, and this is what I was saying, you know, with speed he makes that! With speed he makes that! That is absolutely criminal, and now he's going to be breaking the pallet. It's going to allow our Jake Park to go all the way back down to 6, and there's going to be a pallet at his side as well, and we are going to be breaking that on the side of our Oni, and this just allows survivors in the background to get those generators proc, but all credit to where credit is due. At least with these add-ons, he does have power for a very long time, but it is going to be going, unfortunately, and we have just kind of been screwed as we do take chase back onto Claudette here, who is only 1 hooked at the moment. So if she dies, we are at 6 stages, 3 fresh, I do believe, if I can count correctly. Actually, I don't think I can. I think it's 5 stages, 3 fresh spots. We're going to be playing our mind games here over at this Foreman tile. I think we've lost sight on everybody at the moment, and now Jake Park just going to be hauling us back to the top side of the map, trying to flip it as much as possible. Although our generators are all at the top side, so maybe we're just going to try and work a generator, in all honesty. I'm not too sure what's really happened here, but our Oni's going into the middle of the map and just trying to really get back his footing, as I like to say, and we do spot out our Tor. It is our last fresh hook, so this is exactly the survivor we need. So if we are to down this survivor and camp them out from fresh to death jams, this will be to the tie conditions. So on top of the fact that we want this survivor to die, we also need to find somebody else. This needs to be quick. This needs to happen now. And at the moment, we don't have really anything to our disposal on the side of our Tori. No access to any of our exhaustions, only access to this window here, and playing the mind games optimally, but not optimally enough. And we're going to be going down ultimately, and this will be their first look. This will also be a pain resonance as well, if we're able to get there in time, and we are. So this is going to negate any sort of progress that we have going on in the background, and we do see generator over at 1 burst into a whole lot of flames at the moment. Oh, in main rather, sorry. And these 2 survivors that have been working it are going to be setting up for a head-on play, as we saw at the start of the match. Oh, wait, did we see it this match or we see it last match? Oh, I think we saw it last match. Sorry, my mistake. But we aren't even going to be checking the backside map, in all honesty. We're checking 1, anticipating some stealth going on there. Yeah, we're a little bit lost in the sauce here at the moment. So what do the survivors have to do in this instance? Well, they all need to be healthy for 1. So there's a reset going on over towards the other side of the map over at Shack. So that's very good in our favor. We do have all the healthy survivors just kind of stealthing around that generator that they had been working a little bit earlier over at main. So they are able to play for it a little bit. They just have to be careful. And as I say that, that's going to be our Jake Park. Do we opt to slug this? Surely we slug it and go back for the main generator. No, we've opted to pick... Okay, we're playing it safe, but in all honesty, you do have the option to slug that. I mean, you have Fang and Hull, so you do have frequency, drop rate, and duration there to kind of aid you in that slugfest gameplay. But we're opting to play a little bit more safe, as I had said a little bit earlier. We do see our Steve here just kind of stealthing over at the window. You know, if we opted to slug that, I don't think he would have had time to react to get off the generator quick enough. I thought we would have seen his scratch marks and potentially got another down over at main, but Maybe that's where the inexperience lies within these Division 2 matches, Jarms. And as we do follow up back on that, we are going to be spotting out what seems to be our arch nemesis for this game, level 1, who's going to be preemptively dropping that pallet in the middle of the map and getting caught out, unfortunately. And that is going to be our 6th stage of the game for Fresh at the moment. So, you know, we get one more stage, we tie, we get another stage on top of that, we win. And our survivors cannot afford to make mistakes at the moment. With so many resources gone, with the generators that are left with so much blood on the map, this is a world full of hurt, even with 1 generator remaining and 4 survivors still left in the trial. But it just comes down to, oh my god, no, not
What
this
the
way.
fuck?
No, get it off, get it off, get it off, go on. Okay, no, but like, I lost train of thought in all honesty. Yeah, basically, point in case, they cannot screw up at all if they are to take this set home, Jarms.
Yeah, literally. The next stage is the Tycon, right? And then the next stage up. That is what's going to get you the win in this. Now, if I'm not mistaken, that will be Ancestor 2 Reactor 0, if I'm not mistaken. Big muscles. Yeah, that would be the truth. It's hard to say that's probably not what's going to happen, True. Like, you know, he's played it subpar. Not subpar, sorry, that's the wrong word. He's played it pretty optimally, suboptimally, not suboptimally, that would entail that he's played it badly. He's played it optimally. Obviously, some things could have been better. The survivors, yeah, like you said, the room for error is 0 right now. You need to last his power, which is the truth. I'm actually not 1000% sure why Olympus has popped the power here. Maybe he just has a refresh somewhere around the map. Yeah, you're just going to see all 4 survivors stealthing, which is definitely the play here. Now, the problem for them is you do have some pretty awkward... no, they're not awkward, but it's just awkward with him patrolling. Like, they're decent enough gens to, like, sit. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, you got main, you got, like, a sort of, like, off to the 9 side, and then you got, like, this top mid sort of area, right? They're not the worst gens. You just sit in main and 9, I guess. But I mean, Brew's already set up. They are in a good position. Like he's just combed the location with alert. You know, I don't even think Olympus here has enough blood refreshed on the map. So he's gonna have to work for another tag here, which honestly gives them another chance to be able to actually do this. He might have some blood on the bottom side, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe like Shackway, but it might not be in his best interest to ponder down there just yet, or even at all maybe, because you're not going to guarantee. You might not be able to guarantee a full power. You're going to guarantee pressure, and then if you guarantee pressure, you might guarantee yourself the game loss. Scratch that, Headhunter. It's just not what we needed, is it?
No. This is not exactly what I needed. Although, granted, he is Death Hook. So we're not opting to chase this on the side of Olympus. We need somebody that's got a little bit more stages. We do see our Tory just kind of run out into the open and just, serve themselves up on a platter because, in about the next couple of seconds, I dare say they're going to be going down unless we can't get this flick. And again, this is starting to prove my point on why we should have brought speed maybe. But nevertheless, we're playing around these rocks very nicely. Just stop charging up power and honestly go for the back rev. What are we doing? Like, no, stop this. Stop. You have so much... Okay, no, you know what? Fair enough. I mean, maybe we opt to leave this and go for like our Steve or something. We're just kind of caught at this long rock here. And yes, we've caught them out eventually. Oh no, wait. I was about to say there's no way that they get spun, but we are played very risky there. That's probably the correct word to use in all honesty, but we're at the draw at the moment. Or are we? Yes, we're at the draw at the moment. So we could realistically just camp out these remaining stages, but we've opted to go for our Claudette here on the generator. You have to leave this, because if you go down, which you do, unfortunately, this is just a win for our killer here, unfortunately. My god, unless that happens...
He missed it.
He missed it, no.
I'm upset because... You're at 7-4, right? No, he already won. My bad, I apologize. This is a win, yeah. Ancestor already won. I guess you're just playing for pride at this gate now. I don't know, like that beamer save... It would... I don't...
Well, hang on. Let me check the scorecard for a second. Sorry to cut you off, Jamie, but
No, you're
I
right.
need to. No, like if that didn't happen, they were still tied. They tied if he got out.
So if he gets that beam and save, it's a tie.
Yep. Yep. I'm upset. I'm upset in your words, but you know what? We roll with it. Unfortunately, you can't win everything. I do believe that brings us to one apiece at the moment. If oh no, that goes to Ancestor. Oh my.
Mm.
Actually, never mind. Sorry, I was thinking of the wrong team. Wow. Incredible. Incredible. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to send you over to Chief. He's going to decipher the game a little bit better than what we did because sometimes we get a little bit too emotionally invested. And we're going to hear a quick analysis as we go into our next set. Stay tuned.
Yeah. I can't say I'm any less emotional. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to my little analyst corner for the night. I do have 3 talking points from both sets. I want to start with builds. There was a lot of conversation from our casters about the builds. Prada, obviously being Reactor's killer, brought Bam. I don't think Bam on a map like Family Residence is needed at all. I actually think it is effectively a wasted perk slot. You have maybe 2 windows at main, 3 or 4 in tiles, and 1 at Shack. And although they are very, very strong windows, especially the ones at Shack and potentially in your tiles, if you get, a jungle gym or a long wall, etc., right? But there are so many palettes on the map that Brutal, I do believe, is a better pick. But even more than that, what I would have loved to see was the abandonment of one of those perks. I did see Hunter mention it very, very briefly. I think having a combination of Painres Pop Eruption along with your standard Corrupt would have most likely been the play for the builds. Now, add-ons. We did see an instance where we had Prada not bringing Duration, and we had Ancestor Killer bringing no speed, which I think are very outlandish. I think Hull on this map isn't the play either. With the map being so big and so hard to traverse, and the potential for you to get multiple downs in power if people are caught mid-map when resources are depleted, I think having Fang and Crutch both is probably better. Now, obviously, I'm not too sure how that would have gone if we did see speed and duration on the side of Ancestor's Killer, because Hull was actually quite impactful at the end of it. Although the first chase was extremely long, level 1's chase could have single-handedly won the set. What it inadvertently did was give the killer a lot, and I mean a lot of blood in mid-map. And we saw another chase that lasted significantly, like a significant amount of time later in the game, which went to similar effect. It gave the killer a lot of blood. Now, the issue with Ancestors Oni was that a lot of that blood ended up going to waste. And it feels really weird to critique the gameplay of the winner so much, but I do actually think Prada might have played the set a lot better as a killer individually, but I do think his survivors were not as strong and were giving away a lot of ground in that late game. Now, I do also want to point out something about the map. The generators for both killers were very, very good, and I want to highlight this in Prada's game specifically. Prada opted to not check any of the gens bottom side of the map when he got his hook 10. He sat there on the hook the entire time. Now that was because he had an incredible 4-gen top, and that is very common on Family Residence. Seeing a 4-gen from 10, 11, 2, 1, and main, or like any of that combination is very, very common. And he opted to let the survivor go second and camp it with power, whilst he knew every other survivor was on the bottom side of the map. Obviously, that didn't pay off because the save was gotten for a trade, granted, but the chase from, I believe it was Aether, the second chase rather, with the smash hit at Shack was game saving, and obviously him lasting at 1 was very, very similar. Overall, I think what was really, really important to point out was the power usage from both killers. It really felt like to me, and I would love to hear what our other casters have to say about this if we do have some time after this, is it really felt like to me that both killers weren't too comfortable on the killer. It didn't feel like they were actually Oni players, they were rather just playing Oni because they need to play it, right? I think it was a circumstantial killer play. I'm not too sure either of them were particularly comfortable. We saw Prada doing a lot of following. He wasn't really trying to cash survivors out, playing the 50s. He was doing like he was, especially on the Jungle Gym one. He did a lot of following, which isn't realistically how you play Oni because it just means the survivor's going to make a vault and you're either going to hit the window or you're going to break the pallet and you're going to give them the opportunity to make another resource. You want to be trying to cash them out as they're making those plays, the vaults, so that way you can get the down. Prada didn't capitalize on that as much as I think he could have. And I believe Ancestor's Oni was very, very similar. And obviously, what I thought was a complete mess was his decision to waste effectively all of his power on 2 rocks and a hook. Now, you can't fault him. With no speed, those flicks around rocks like that are quite difficult to achieve. But as Hunter pointed out, you can just walk him down and charge your like M2 as a just regular swing to get that down. Save yourself all your power, not waste literally all of it on 1 down, which didn't secure the win just yet. Obviously, he did shortly after that. But that could have been game changing. And the flashlight save after that, obviously not coming through, would have met the Tycon. So I feel like that is what's most important to look at. I think for both teams walking away from this set, they really do need to revise their killer play and probably get some reps on the killer more so. But that's all I have for the Oni set. We will be moving into what we have next. I'm actually not too sure. That is my bad. But I know that our casters will be able to tell you, so I will pass it back to them.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you
you.
for that little
Oh.
analysis, little chief. Oh, I said I got us. I said I insist, you know. No,
You got it, baby.
I think you got something. You got something to say. It's all good.
No, take it away, baby boy. Take it away.
All right. So, just to address like what Chief had obviously spoken about just then, in regards to, I think he was more moving towards the confidence of the 2 killers at the very end of his analysis there. I believe that our first killer, Prada, would have been a little bit more confident as to oppose of our other killer. Just obviously for the fact that you saw things in the first set that were brought by somebody who, well, I did play a lot of Oni back in the day, and I'm fairly sure there's a lot of you out there who did. You just noticed something a little more conventional that you saw over the years of competitive Dead by Daylight. With the second build, you saw something a little unconventional. I mean, Pop Goes the Weasel and just duration and frequency was something very you didn't see a lot of back in the day. You might have seen pop now that I come to think about it, but as far as the add-ons go, definitely not. Wise man used to say, you know, get flicky on the Oni, and you can't do that with a second build that was brought in. But what you also have to take into account is the fact that Oni was changed. I feel like there's a lot of players out there who hadn't really adapted to the changes, myself included. I hate them because I moved my mouse just a centimeter and I've done a 360 flick when, you know, you basically had to snap your shoulder doing a J flick 180 or a straight flick 180 back in the day. So you don't really see them too often anymore. You do amongst the people who really stuck by the Oni grind, but even they had to rework their mechanics. And, you know, as I say that is enough about the Oni sets. We are loading into the Doctor set. It is going to be our Doctor player for the side of, I can't remember who's, and I can barely see the names. Who is actually playing first up? Is it Reactor, Jumps? I do believe it's Reactor, right?
Oh my lord, we do see, yeah, this is Reactor Survivors here coming in. Baru there, son. Come on, mate. We can't be doing that. And we might even get down. Oh, we made that pallet, actually. That was kind of a late shock from the bro error. So, 3 different killer players on the side of Ancestor. That is I'm not going to say what I thought, but that is not the most advantageous vault for my handsome man, Baru, who I actually do have quite a good chuckle with when we do when I do scream Reactor on the side. But no, they are good on the Doctor. This is their best set, right? This is the best set. Now that's shocking to me that they've started like this, because genuinely I think Reactor, one of the better teams in Division 2 at Doctor, if not the best team. Now you can see that we've literally just somehow evaded the killer. Has he gone edge map locker, or is it Calm Spirit? If that's Calm Spirit on that Survivor, boy oh boy, you need to be thanking the world and Jake Park in particular. But No, we do catch Tori out here. We do see Some Peng, I believe. No, that's not Some Peng. This is Some Peng. Yes, level 1 himself. We are going to get hit through the pallet. Rapid brutality. A lot of blokes been asking me, Jumps, when are you going to allow batteries in Division 2? Jumps, batteries included is one of the best perks on M1 killers. And honestly, maybe you're right. But rapid brutality is, you know, just as good. I see in other regions they do combo the two. What do you want? 10% haste, mate? Every chase? Come on, don't be ridiculous with me, son. But we do go to the death spot here, down bottom. Now, I guess a lot of people would argue with me and saying Doctor's a shitty killer. He is a pretty dog shit killer, I will admit. But the difference is, this is OCE, right? OCE, SCA, NEA. We are definitely not up to the standards of every other region in terms of the gameplay. EU does like to 4-stage this killer constantly. Now, on our side, Hunter, I think you'd agree with me. I think you'd see more high stages in OC/SEA/OSO in general, right? NEA, right?
Yeah,
You're gonna get more towards the 9. Sorry, well, if that late point.
No,
But you're gonna
sorry,
get more
yeah.
towards the 9 to 4K. True?
Yeah, I mean, we like to make the joke of those CT killers being ST killers over here in the OC region. Oh my god, no, this game's just shambles, bro. Oh no, that's just so unfortunate. I don't know if that's due to the fact of the tile generation or just like them just not really playing the tiles effectively, in all honesty, or maybe our killer's just goated out of his mind. I can't really decipher this game as much as I would have liked because, in all honesty, I'm blinking and it's going straight before my eyes. I'm not really seeing any body blocks at the moment, so you know they're opting to go for more gen pressure and resets in the background, I suppose, of really saving the guy in chase. But yeah, like you had said, just sitting over at back over in EU and stuff, yeah, they're just 4-staging this killer, so really have to dissect their gameplay and their balancing to really see what we can do to kind of simulate that, because ideally, yes, you should be only at tops getting 6 stages on the Doctor sets. Nevertheless, going to be taking chase back onto our Tori here, who is going to be rotating all the way back down to this 10 side here, playing this outside of main. There's no pallet to our disposal. There's one straight ahead of us, but a quick shock is going to render that obsolete unless we get a nasty hit through the pallet, and that was extremely greedy from the side of our killer. I think we should have went for the shock there and tried to play the 50 on the pallet, as we would have had pallet position at our grasp. So we are going to be following up here. Unfortunately not catching out the Tori. Going to be playing these check spots very well, not to use this pallet preemptively or nothing. Going to be trying to make something else. We do get head on though, so some very nice plays coming in late from our survivors, and maybe we can have a better late game than an early game, but going to be rotating back all the way over to 1 where there are 2 generators. I do believe one was being worked. Yeah, that is the generator more towards this main side of the building over at 2. I had to kind of recollect my thoughts there. It was looking a little bit different on my eyes, maybe due to the reshade, but going to be taking chase back onto our Jake here, who is getting caught out at this little short filler. Is going to have to make distance, and all of a sudden we have 3 survivors, all injured. One of them in tier 3. Where do you go from here with 3 generators remaining?
Yeah, I mean, there's not a lot to dissect. We had a really rough start. We have 3 blokes injured, but we don't really have anything on the side of the killer. He's had moments of, you know, big pressure in this game, and it's not really led to anything. You know, we have our Jake here, who is, you know, caught out at this 5 here. He's gonna have to go for a beautiful chase. Has been going for a beautiful chase. Does make the crane. Oh my lord, we need to be paying attention. Now, Reactor! Oh my god, definitely worth getting tagged for that. Holy, you see the teamwork that these boys can get up to. So their 3 stages, 3 fresh is what we have on the board right now. Yeah, I mean, the teamwork on Reactor is very good to see. I wouldn't even be shocked here if you see one of the healthies come in and play. We do see them actually doubling a gen bottom side. That is an interesting decision. This is not going to lead to a tag. Not sure why we went for the bloke in shack as opposed to the guy running to the 6 tile. Maybe just wanted to deplete that resource. I think he already depleted 6 actually. So yeah, I'm not too sure why we did that. But either way, gens are horrid now. You've got split gens. Yeah, you got 2, mid 2, 3, 7, 11. I mean, you got 3 gen to rely on, you know, to fall back on. But let's be real with each other. That's not a great 3-gen at all. Yeah, we're just going to see Jake go for a beautiful chase here. He has gone for a beautiful chase. That power save was beautiful. Beautiful fake there, winning that 50-50. Even baiting in the fake shock from Error as well. Now, we're going to have to last. Choosing to break this. Now, Baru has got himself patched up in the background and is going to be escorting young Jake out of the hood, as we would say, out of the hood. But yeah, I mean, Rapid Brutality is going to give him that extra distance to catch up, break zone. Should still be fine to make the bottom side of the map, Corey, either way. We've run back top. No, we've just done a big loop around Crane. Never mind.
That taken into account, we are going to be continuing the chase back onto our Steve, who's going to be pre-dropping this pallet, running all the way down to the Crane here. Gonna have to really last, and I do think we heard another survivor in the background, if I'm not mistaken, but we're going to be playing this mind game here. Vaulting it. Not really much to go on, unfortunately. Trying to really dodge that shock, but getting hit down, unfortunately, on the side of our Steve. Going to be getting picked up and now hooked for what seems to be the 4th stage of the game. So even though everything's been happening right in front of our faces and all very fast, still a fairly low stage game if we're able to get these 2 generators done in the background, in all honesty. It was looking a little bit shaky at the beginning, but I think we've really caught back onto what we need to be doing on the side of our survivors and really taking back that game that we really needed to be doing. So we're going to be kicking this generator here over at this 12 side of the map. We do see somebody playing around with the lockers there, and it does seem to be some scratch marks leading all the way back down into 3, maybe more towards main now. So opting not to chase that survivor, maybe going back to the hook. A little bit indecisive here on the side of our killer. We do spot out the Claudette level 1, who's going to be running all the way to this broken bus here. There's not really much to be working with, but we are nice and far away from those generators. Going to be eating a tag. Really need to go back on that backside 12 generator, get that popped as soon as we can after that reset happening on hook. So are we going to opt to chase this on the side of our doctor? And we are, as this is a fresh hook that we are going to be chasing. It is level 1. Pre-dropping this pallet here. Sorry, I was about to call him LZY, but we're going to be dropping that pallet there, and we're going to be going down. Unfortunately, not really much to be working with, but we do get that generator over behind main popped. Somebody's stealthing around for a beam to say, "My God, Biru, a little cheeky," but going to be eating that tag, running away as soon as we can. Seeing if there's anybody else around, but you know, I think with only a beamer in the match, you're not really going to find anything else that you can really save this teammate with, since there's no pallets around. But going to be now taking onto the Pain Resonance hook and continuing on with our match here, Jumps.
Yeah, I mean, that is pretty cheeky from the big man. They have, I don't want to say lackluster gen pressure, but they do have not as much as I thought they would have. They do body quite a lot, as you can see, and they obviously concede a bit of pressure for it. Now, the good thing for Era A1, or Era AI, I should say, the killer for Ancestor, is he does have 4 freshers. Obviously, you see Baru does have Middle and Manhunt, so that's why he's playing so into it. That's why he loves a bit of sneakiness from him there. But yeah, I don't know. It gets a bit awkward. That's a great pull. Beautiful comms actually there. That would have been very, 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 very good from, I believe, the Tory there, whoever that was, making a great pull. Now he's on me. Yeah, you've got Baru on 11, I believe. Yes, it was 11 who just pops. That was either 11 or 7, I'm not too sure. It might have been 7, actually. No, that could have been 11. It was either one or the other, but that pops. We're at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stages here. 5, 4. Pretty much what you'll see on the Doctor from all the better teams in Division 1. At least you'd hope. You know, this is Reactor, a Division 2 team, Baru. Sole, we've made an error there, my boy. Yeah, this is what you would see from all the Division 1, solidified Division 1 teams on Doctor, I think. I think you'd definitely see under 6. Getting 4 in a set like this, though, right? 4 fresh, that is, I apologize. That's the game-changing part here. Now, Reactor have played this Survivor set immensely, and I do genuinely think if Prada steps up on the killer here, which I don't think we saw him play Oni, I apologize. I'm not sure if he played Blight. I believe it was someone else that played Blight, I'm not too sure, but if he's getting on the Doctor here, which he has done before, we have seen him achieve, you know, 8 stages, 4K1s. This is just some of his results on the Doctor this season. This is definitely in his means, Buller.
And I'm excited to see it 110%. I mean, it was more amongst the average for Doctor Games, in all honesty. We're anticipating high stages at the start of the match if you did miss it, but more towards the later stages of the match as it regulated to 6 hooks, which I, sprung amongst the high stage average for this killer. And, as you were saying, 4 stages, 3 stages being the norm in EU, it's not that far off, in all honesty, man. They really did pull it back. So, error. I mean, what errors did error make? In all honesty, not too much. I think the survivors just played very well, in all honesty. Yeah, not really much for me to comment on, as I don't really necessarily play Doctor that much, and I think that's no known secret there. But it'll be interesting to see who plays the killer for Reactor. They really need to take home this set, otherwise they're going home 3-0. But they will still be making it into the main division, obviously. So, what are your thoughts, Jumps?
Yeah, I mean, either way, they both are making it to the finals. Oh, sorry, I apologize to Division 1. They're already at the finals, of course. So I guess to bring it back to what you said earlier, it just really matters what happens from this match. Do you win, or if you win you go into group, I believe group B, actually, I apologize. Group B is the group that the winner goes into, and group A is the group that the loser of this match will go into. So that is, I'm pretty positive that's how it's written up. Either way, right, it does actually mean a lot, because truth be told, you don't really want to be in either group. Both groups are top of the table, right? But in a situation like this, it's kind of a curse. Winning, I'll be honest, because winning, you would probably get the harder, well, not the harder group, but there is no harder or easier group. But you put 2 ACAD teams in one group, and then you put one ACAD team in the other group, and obviously that's based off strength, right? At that current present in formatting. And yeah, I think winning this match was actually quite a downfall, because either way, you verse. I believe all the teams from Academy, Knicks included, all are versing the top 3 seeded teams in the tournament first week, which, I mean, that's a bit upsetting. That is very upsetting, if you're them. But that is honestly quite good. That means they have a better chance later in the half of the season to win those matches against, the mid-level teams, maybe the teams that they might actually be more accustomed at the pacing for. And honestly, Corey, to answer your question, sorry for going a little side tangent there. Answer your question. What do we need here? From the survivors, you need the same but better. Better gen efficiency with tanks. Tanks being body blocks, right? If you're able to have 4v1 at 1 gen with good gen split, even with a guy on Death Hook, that's still just as good, right? You can save a guy on Death Hook so easily in a 4v1 with coordination. Even on the fly, like, it's not that hard. I'll be so brutally honest. And I think on the Doctor, Rapid stuff like Rapid is genuinely to me more of a comfort perk than you bring it because you need it, they say, right? In Chase, me, I'm not a Doctor player. I wouldn't know. I would honestly go for full pig slowdown. Sloppy is more what I'd go for. I think I'm more a bit old school in that sense. I think sloppy against good teams is effective. Rapid, I understand, has its value. Corey, again, very, very, very interesting. But I think maybe bringing a sloppy butcher in here, maybe bringing the standard dock add-ons, your discipline, your range. Maybe even going for playing for a fresh early. It's only 6 stages, I believe. 5 stages. 6 stages is your win con, right? 5 stage, 4 fresh is your tie. And that's why I always say getting that extra fresh is so good. Because then you can't just willy-nilly do nothing, right? If you go for the tunnel in this next match, as I believe it will be Prada on the side of Reactor. If you go into this match and you don't get the job done, sorry, it's Aether. No, it's not Aether. I'm tripping. Who is it? Am I smashed? I can't see. It is Prada. Yeah, sorry. Bitrate be too low. if you do get the 6 stage 4 fresh, that's beautiful. But yeah, as I was saying, Corey, you can't risk the tunnel now. At least you have to keep that in the back of your head, because if you tunnel a bloke off the hook and shit doesn't go your way, which tends to happen on the Doctor, you're leaving yourself in a spot of bother, bro. You really are. And this being their best set, I mean, this is their best chance to get a set here. You need to go 2-1. If you don't go 2-1 here in a best of 5, Corey, let's just put it in perspective here. It's over. You only need 3 sets to win, Kazi. I don't think we've really put that into perspective here. Like, this could potentially be the last set, big man. So yeah, I think that's one big thing we need to be noting. I just basically did Lil Chief's I took Lil Chief's thunder there, Lukey, but
No, the set hasn't finished yet, so he'll come after this match. But I mean, you've made a pretty good analysis, man. In all honesty, I mean, really, the take-home points are, Reactor. You show up this set, and for our killer, you really need to be getting those stages on the board. You can't afford to just spiral out of control, going for a tunnel out that's, getting all the bodies, making sure he lasts in chase and, getting pulled last second and successfully and ultimately only dying with 3 stages on the board. So you are right. But we are going to be loading in. Let's see what our killer can do on the side of Reactor. It is Prada, the demon, as you like to call him. He is your number 1 GOAT. So he's going to be loading in all the way on the top side here over at 11, going to his corrupt zone, seeing if we can spot any survivors. Static Blast in hand is going to be showing all those people momentarily, unless we opt not to use it. We are going more towards the shack side now. Going to be following up these scratch marks here. I'm not too sure who's in chase currently, but it does seem like that sounds like our Jake, and it is Space01. Someone we haven't seen tonight, I don't believe, and going to be vaulting that window preemptively, doing so very nicely. Going to be avoiding the shock, pre-dropping that pallet, instantly creating as much distance as we possibly can. He's going to delay the tag even longer. Now, does he opt to go for the pallet? Does he opt to go for the window? He opts to go for the window because it's a short amount of distance, but does get hit. And, if he went for the pallet, I do believe he gets shocked, and I think our killer knew that. Going to be playing that tag, getting it nicely on the side of our killer. Going to be faking the shock once and then using it the second time, but avoiding it on the side of our Jake is forced him to go all the way to this deep 5 side of the map where we only have this short filler to be working with, and one shock is just going to spell our ultimate demise. Lol jokes, I am absolutely joking, and we've absolutely made the shack ballad. No, that is crucial. That is so upsetting. You cannot be affording to make any of those sort of mistakes, and we're going to be playing the shack pallet as well. We're not going to go for the distance. We're going to sit just at our pallet, and I didn't anticipate that. We see the first generator of the trial, Proc in the background. We're going to play following up the chase over at this jungle gym here over at 6. This is very advantageous for our survivors at the moment. Playing the window on the side of our Jake. Space01 playing absolutely out of his mind. Do we have a tank inbound? And if we do, I'm going to try. No! We've sent it for the vault, and we haven't picked it up on the side of Prada. And now we're going back to the short field here, opting to greet it once more. We're back on the side of the tires, but we can't screw it up this time. And I don't think we are on the side of Prada. We are going to be for a down, but at the cost of 2 generators in the trial, with another one on its way at 25% jumps.
2016 LeBron, 2018 LeBron, 96 Jordan. These are the players that come to mind when you think of Prada. Now, that's what he's going to have to do here, right? You've put yourself in a shocking spot, no pun intended, right? I don't know, big man. The ball's in your court, literally. No, again, no pun intended. You have to perform here. You have to get this done. You can't go out like this, big man. You've put on a performance all season, and yeah. Truth be told, Corey, this is looking like 2016 Cavs versus 2016 Warriors. Maybe not even that. Maybe even 2018. I apologize. 2018 is probably a better reference here, because it does look like Prada is on an island here all by his lonesome. He does take all the killer roles. He does take the survivor IGLing role. It's hard because I know Ancestor are a bit more coordinated as a group of survivors, and they do, obviously, as you can see tonight, have a lot more leniency on the killer role. It's not bound to one man, so the pressure isn't as high, of course. Either way, Corey, this is where you do it, mate, right? It's not... This is as best as it gets, mate. I would say this game here is outside of probably the final seasons of Division 1. This is one of the biggest matches you'll be in, son. This will be one of the biggest. You need to sort something out here for your blokes. If you do not get this down with the triple split in the background happening, it is going to be problems, Corey. Rewind me back to about 2 minutes ago or 3-4 minutes ago when I said that if the tunnel goes wrong, lad, this could go south. You've been fat shamed, son. You ain't skinny enough for that, my boy. We are going down in the centralized part of the map. I apologize. I believe Beyonds and Aether are doubling. Actually, is it double? We're about to find out. It has to be a double. Jen's going up too fast.
It's a double.
It is on the 2. No, it's not, Sully! No, it's not!
Oh, wait, hold on a second. What's happened now? Okay. So we don't get that generator popped over here at 5. It is just seems to be. Is it our last generator? I can barely see the
It is
screen,
1.
so
It is a 1.
It is. Oh my god. I was thinking, is it a 2? And I was thinking, why am I being shouted at? But if that's the last generator, my god, I get why you're screaming at me now. So gonna be taking that tag onto Olympus here, who's gonna be going all the way back down into this jungle gym here, and oh, just getting caught out at the window. That's not exactly what you need. Even if we do get this hook and all stages awarded to us, that is not going to be enough. And it is currently, oh, you know, okay, we have to get sluggy with it. We have to really pull something out of the hat here if we're going to take this this match on the side of our killer. And we are going to be going to the gates here, trying to spot out that last survivor that was working this generator. It does seem to be that Laurie is working that 12 gate right about now. And I'm not too sure what our other survivors are doing. Maybe playing for some sort of they got to be playing it safe, right? I mean, if they get caught out with their pants down, it's just kind of GG at this point, you know. Going to be using our shocks here effectively on the side of Prada. That's going to be a quick tag onto our Jake there. Kind of maybe has to make this. Wait, hang on a second. Please don't. Wait, this is so scary. He really cannot afford to go down at the moment because that means he ties a set. We've opted to leave on the side of our killer. I don't know why you would ever do that. We're really worried about somebody going for this unhook here. They're just going to take the remaining stages out, though I don't think that he knew that 2 survivors were just kind of camping the exit gate, bro. I'll be completely honest. And they've kind of really gotten a grasp of their win condition here. They know if they just leave, it's just practically GG. You know, they win by stage.
No, that is probably the biggest fumble from my hero I've ever seen. That's my going down. That's going to be 5-2. Yeah, I mean, we needed to chase that in the end game. I know you're scared of them getting the pull, son, but the reality of it is if he goes second and you hook that guy there and camp him out to death, you win. Regardless, in such abrupt, sad, heartbreaking fashion. That is 3-0 to Ancestor Bulla. Very, very well played. They will go into Group B, Reactor into Group A, joining Nyx. That is your top 3. Bulla, it's been an honor doing Division 2. I'll let the big dog take us out. But, from me personally, thank you for letting me do Div 2. It was good. Thank you for you rocked up on the YouTube every week. Shout out to every. I would go through. I mean, if I could, I'll go through names. Shout out like Chief, Gosi, Bravo, Lurk, Gohan, Fija as well. Holy I know I'm forgetting like people, but everyone who was wrapped in Div 2, we made this beautiful. It was beautiful to see. This was great shit. I'll be truthful, pretty underwhelming grand finals we've had here. It was pretty, one-sided in, I think Chief might have a bit of a different opinion on that. I think each individual set was closer than what it seemed, Corey. Other than that, well played to Ancestor, well played to Beyonds. I guess there will be, the finals award has to be, awarded at some point, Buller. And I guess, while you're taking us out, I guess I will let you know who that is if you want to, give me his run.
So basically, we're going to announce the winner straight after we get done with Chief's analysis. So why don't you take it away, Chief, while we do that little discussion right now, as we do have a solidified winner, but we don't really want to be announcing it just yet.
Yes, hello. I mean, Thank you for handing it over to me for one last time. Obviously, I want to give my little congratulations as well to Ancestor. Winning 3-0 is no easy feat in these finals, but I will get into it. It's quite short, this one, because honestly, from that second half of the set, there's not a lot to talk about. Space01, he might have done a madness. To be completely honest, I think that is the only way I can put it. That first chase was nothing short of electric. It single-handedly won that game. And I want to point out that it is the complete opposite to what we saw for Reactor's survivors. Reactor gave 3 downs before 2 gens had popped. And that is really what set the momentum for them. Obviously, it's really interesting to point that out because they gave as many downs for the next 4 generators. They only gave 6 downs in the entire game, but 3 of them came super, super early. And they were fresh. Each individual one was fresh. And the game, although it was won by a single stage, also could have been won by outs. We were talking about it being an awkward decision for Prada to leave that chase in endgame, but it actually wouldn't have mattered at all. It was Space01 and Chase, our Death Hook survivor. If he was to go down and chase and die there, they still would have won on fresh hooks. So I think it is basically a game completely decided by that first chase. And I don't have much else to say about it. You know, Space has just done everything he needed to do. Although I do also want to highlight Biru's performance specifically on Doctor. I think his chase assist was absolutely incredible all game. He played for multiple hit takes. I think he got 3 head-ons as well. He played for a beamer save. He was always there. He made sure the chases in that late game lasted as long as possible, which is exactly why, as I said earlier, there was only 3 downs within the span of all gens popping and them getting out the exit gates. But with that being said, obviously, congratulations to Ancestor. Thank you, Hunter and Jams, for having me tonight. And thank you, Hunter, for allowing me and Jams to put on Division 2. And I'll pass it back over to them as we get to all the formalities.
And I think that means that it will be me taking us out. Your Division 2, well, not taking us out, but I will announce the finals MVP of Division 2, and then Big Head Hunter will take us out. But your Division 2 finals MVP is going to be the big man Atha from Ancestor. Beautifully played, Big Muscles. I will be in touch with you after the match. Round of applause. Solidified in the history books, son. Had great chases all day. Honestly, could have gone to either him or Space, but went with him in the end. I think those only chases were just what put him right over, just right at the end there, Corey. I'll be so brutally honest. But again, as the Chief said, I'm Jams. Thank you. Thank you for giving me Division 2. I'll hand you off to the big boss, and he will, see you all out. But for me, love you. Good night.
Tomorrow, everyone. Get excited because Division 1 commences as Division 2 comes to a close. Thank you to everybody who participated and all of the staff team. Obviously, I have to give out my thanks. Many Thanksgiving coming around, obviously. But that being said, make sure to follow all the socials, links in the bio. Discord, Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, you name it. The whole Division 2 was streamed on YouTube. If you want to watch any matches and you missed any matches, you should go watch them there. I would highly advocate it, especially if you're just getting into competitive and are just joining us now. But that will be all. I'll see you tomorrow. Should I say what the matches are? I guess I could say them. So if I do get the calendar up real quick just before I leave, yes, I know you're all really eager to hear me shut up, but we do have a few. Ooh, wait, I'm not even too sure where it's at. There it is. Okay, so we have at 8:30 p.m. Forsaken vs Evolution, and then at 10 p.m. some very special guests, Chinese Dragons versus. Actually, we have to disclose that at the moment, as there was the winner of this match obviously going through to Division A. So I do believe that will be Ancestor versus Chinese Dragons tomorrow. Their pick and bears will happen tonight very quickly. Nevertheless, we'll see you guys there. Take it easy, and we'll be right back. Don't go anywhere.